Hello, everyone. This is the Catholic Esquire. Some of you may have heard the sad news that the United Kingdom recently changed their laws. Parliament has passed a bill anyway to the effect of repealing the criminalization of the Moloch ritual, a law that's been on the books dating back since Victorian times. Essentially opens the door to obviously um, millions of more deaths as a result of this evil satanic ritual. Now, some people have asked, well, is Leo going to condemn this? Isn't Pope Leo the 14th going to condemn this practice? And why hasn't he done so yet? And what I'm trying to tell you, my friends, in this video today is that I don't think he's going to. Could be wrong, but I don't think he's going to. And this provides a good opportunity to explain how post-Vatican II modernists actually work and how they've completely buffaloed the traditional Catholic ink crowd. And the fact that most traditionalists and certainly conservative Catholics haven't picked up on this trick yet is kind of embarrassing. They've been doing it now for 50 years. This pattern, this strategy was implemented at the Second Vatican Council, and it's been fooling people ever since. Except it's so obvious. And so this is just another example, I think, of where this is going to show its ugly, ugly face. So the Second Vatican Council, one of the things that we everyone understands is that it wasn't a dogmatic, doctrinal defining council. It was a pastoral council. Pastoral council. Originally when they called the council, the good cardinals and bishops said, "Oh, okay, well, we'll draft up some documents here, some schema, right, for everybody to work off of, and it's going to be really good." Um, and they did draft up some good documents, and those basically got trashed almost as soon as the council started. And that's when I started opening a little bit and saying, wait, something weird's going on here. Well, what was going on here was that the whole point of this council was not to define doctrine, was not to promote doctrine or dogma, but it was a revolution. And the revolution was going to be precisely against doctrine and dogma itself, not necessarily openly against any particular dogma or doctrine, because that would never fly. That would be way too obvious. You just simply ignore the doctrine and pastorally implement what you want to do without ever having to deal with it. With the idea being is that doctrine and dogma aren't really that important. That's all Middle Age stuff, those condemnations, those anathemas, all that stuff, all out the window. No, no. We don't even need to deal with that. And we see that at the Second Vatican Council with ecumenism. So they'll say, "Oh yes, Jesus Christ is Lord. He's the one way to God." However, there's always a nevertheless. There's always a however. There's always a but. There's all these other people out there who reject Christ and or reject the church, and in some way they are also connected to God and achieve salvation through these alternate paths, right? Even though they may not have the fullness of Christ in the church, but there's these ultimate paths that are still available to these people. That's a pastoral consideration. So we don't condemn anybody more. We just say, "Oh yes, that's fine. We still believe in Jesus Christ. He's the one way to God, but there's other ways as well." And we just recognize that pastorally. We saw that with collegiality. We say, "Oh yes, there's the papal office. We believe in Vatican I. There is the Pope, uh, but God also gave direct authority, jurisdiction to the bishops, not through the Pope, but directly, according to Vatican II." And so, pastorally, these bishops are empowered to basically do whatever they want because of collegiality. And we don't have to worry so much about that old-fashioned, middle-age, juridical notion of the papal office. Now we're much more communal and synodal, right? Even with religious liberty of all things, they say, "Oh yes, we're not changing tradition. We love tradition." In paragraph 1 of Dignitatis Humanae, but however, the reality of the situation is that there's a bunch of countries out there who reject Christ, and so we have to honor and respect their natural right to publicly reject Christ and proclaim false religions. That was Dignitatis Humanae. But all of these were pastoral considerations. So now we get to the modern times, and here we are. Let's look at the fiducia supplicans, for example. Fiducia supplicans. Oh, well, of course we believe in marriage, and we believe in one man, one woman, and all that. But if some people who happen to come at the same time and believe themselves to be a couple want a blessing, we'll still offer that because it's pastoral. It's the pastoral thing to do, right? So we can do that. We don't have to worry about that doctrine and marriage stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course we believe in that, but we'll offer blessings anyway. We see that with Amoris Laetitia, for example. It's no accident that Bergoglio had taught that unrepentant adulterers can receive the sacrament of Holy Communion in a footnote. You see, because it's the footnote. In a footnote, it's not really a part of the main document because, see, he doesn't want you to think he's actually changing doctrine at all because he doesn't care about the doctrine. It's all pastoral, right? Because we have to meet people in their concrete realities, and so they can't live up to what these doctrines and dogmas are, from old rigid times. They can't meet that. So we just have to deal with the situation at hand. And so if this happens to come up, it's fine. Put that in that footnote. When it comes to, oh, I don't know, marriage, same thing. Well, of course, there's no such thing as divorce in Catholic teaching. We're not changing that. No one would ever suggest that you can get divorced. However, however, if we subtly redefine marriage and open the door for the marriage to be found void or annulled from the very beginning, we're not really contradicting the doctrine at all. We're just pastorally and reaching out to people in their hard times and their hurt and their failed marriages and finding a way to get them out of it without denying doctrine. And naturally, of course, since the Second Vatican Council, the number of annulments have skyrocketed. All of this is for pastoral considerations, of course, because they want to meet people where they are. And of course, we never would say that you can get divorced. All of these things people are aware of intuitively because it's obvious and the strategy is right in your face. But what happens is many on the Catholic traditional side and conservatives certainly, they just chalk this up to ambiguities. They say, "Oh, well, see, this is ambiguous." No, is that's letting them off the hook when we call these things ambiguous. It's not ambiguous at all. What they're doing, my friends, is telling you that doctrine doesn't matter. Doctrine itself doesn't matter. And when doctrine itself doesn't matter, that means you don't have to say, well, we were wrong the whole time about marriage. Well, we were wrong the whole time that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the light, the only way to God. You don't have to say you were wrong about those things. You just say it doesn't matter because pastorally, we have to do these other things. And so at the end of the day, what you end up having is people who actually hold the Catholic faith, believe all these things. They look at what the post-Vatican II modernists are doing, and they say, well, they're not really denying doctrine here, so, we have to probably be obedient to them. on these things, even though they're telling us that, in certain situations this can happen and that's fine or whatever. We can't really be disobedient because they haven't denied doctrine or what the church teaches. Right. They haven't denied what the church teaches because what they're saying is it doesn't matter. The sacrament of marriage, it doesn't matter. Sure, you can have your sacrament of marriage, but for these other people over here, they have to do these other things. And we're not denying that. And we're not denying them the right to do that, but we're not going to deny the doctrine either. And so what happens is it puts the traditionalist, the one who actually has the faith, believes in the faith, and understands that revelation was given us by God for a reason, into this corner where they feel like they can't do or say anything. Meanwhile, the whole church collapses around them. And so, bringing this back then to the initial topic, is Leo going to condemn the UK for this new law? No. But at the same time, is he going to say the Moloch ritual is a good thing or we should support it? No. He'll say it's not. I mean, he may come out and even say, well, we should be against Moloch ritual, but he's not going to condemn the UK for it. And what happens is more babies are sacrificed. So this is very diabolical, and we have to be able to see what's going on in front of us, my friends. We can't be tricked by these things. We can't be led down the path of perdition by these types of strategies. And frankly, it's been going on since Second Vatican Council, which was the launching point, the implementation of this new strategy, which again, just to repeat, it's not to officially change the doctrine, even though Vatican II and subsequently many errors and heresies were taught. It's not to repeal doctrine and dogma. It's simply to render them pointless. So keep that in mind as you watch what the modernists and quite frankly, including Leo, do. And you're going to see this strategy implemented even more so than it already has been. And let's hope it doesn't continue to trick and fool a lot of others who have a lot of influence and authority in the Catholic world who seem to not see this, and I don't know why. Thank you for listening. If useful, please share the video, subscribe to the channel, continue to pray for Holy Mother Church, pray for the restoration of the traditional Latin Mass, and God bless.